YouTube as well. So I I really wanted to do this talk this morning simply because I've been doing a lot of publication recently, of course, on generative AI, and it's a new area of research for me. So I'm excited because I know that AI will save lives, it saves lives, has saved lives, and I guess my job really is to bring new ideas forward about the conversation around today. If I've spelt it right, I might have spelt it wrong actually, neural networks and learning AI. Um, but it's an interesting conversation because I only really started to understand a little bit more last night about how neural networks are trying to shape artificial intelligence, and we're effectively trying to mimic the human brain. So this is not a tech talk by no means. It's more really around the different fields, I guess, that go around how we evaluate the worth and how we write policies for Gen AI in particularly, but also more about the basics of neural networks because it probably I wouldn't be able to get in immense detail about what a neural network is, but in short, it is maths from my understanding. Okay, we're trying to mimic the brain based on maths and equations, linear algebra, if you will. Okay, and which is a smart system. I'm a beginnings of my own independent research on micro language models, which I'm using the same system as LMMs, but I don't have a big database. I just got a PC, so all I'm doing is I'm coding words, not actual code, but I'm giving them decimal numbers between 0 and 1. And this is the idea that neural networks, those of you who are into machine learning, we code numbers or even keywords, which is what I'm doing, between 0 and 1, and that gives it a kind of classification. And that's really what generative AI is doing in terms of the word embedding system. So we get a bunch of words and we, like an assignment to our teacher, which is why I think I've taken to this research, and we score them. And we can put different criterias in. And that's really what I think the machine learning has advanced to, which I'm doing the reverse. I'm actually making it smaller. Excuse me, because I don't have the I don't have 10 billion from Microsoft. Yeah, I'm just going about trying to find out, is there a safer way that we can produce education really. But neural networks are interesting because human brain, as we know, is very, very complicated. And if we're trying to mathematize the human brain with the emotions of stress, anger, anxiety, which you never know that human is going through at that particular time, that's pretty difficult. But what we can do and what we've done to date, and OpenAI have been very good at this, is create a large language model. So using the word embedding system, basically it's the maths of words. So um beach and sun equals holiday. Okay, as I've recently written in my publication. So it's not that complicated, but it needed a lot of the internet to understand the English language more. So that's really what I'd say neural networks are working to achieve. Can we really mimic the human brain? The answer is probably not. Not to a degree where, because you're going to get hallucinations. We've seen that, and that can be ironed out. But I think my caution is this: when we're learning more about artificial intelligence and we're the push for open AI, as I've just watched an interview from Sam Altman last night, which was months ago now, from Wall Street Journal. um AGI, which is actual general intelligence, which is where they're trying to go, and they're going to get there from my understandings. It's like super intelligence, and it's really trying to say, okay, when I wrote one of my publications last night, I was talking about a film called Limitless. So imagine taking a pill. I'm not promoting drugs here, but I'm just saying, imagine taking a an orthodox pill that's been given legally, and it gives you access to your full brain, but also it heightens your brain to a level where you're like Einstein times 1,000 or 1,000,000. Okay, so you can think of new things. Excuse me, new things that will help you solve problems, and that's what AGI will do. And in the future, I would say that things will get easier and better, but where it will go down a little bit or a lot actually, and there's a risk assessment to kind of involve in this, is obviously cyber warfare, because generative AI, as I've published, will be out tonight actually. Chapter 2, I talk about, and I've written about this a year ago, which I've included, the idea of quantum computing and generative AI. When they meet in the middle, it's quite powerful. So countries like China are, I would say, going to leverage on that. So that's where we have threats to human life, and that's where I think my passion grows in doing this new kind of research. That I don't have a technical background, but I do appreciate some of the fundamental, not flaws, but how AI works in a soft sense, so maths and science, as it were. And generative AI in particular is going to change the world. It is changing the world. It's changing markets. It will decrease some markets and it will open up new ones. And you've got to understand, really make a decision whether you're going to be, as Daniel Priestley recently said, who's been interviewed on the Diary CEO. You're either going to be a creator or you're a consumer. So I'm a creator first because of my brand, Healthy Secrets, but I'm a researcher as well. So I look into the I try and get as deep as I can. I don't know everything, and that's all right. When you start off a new research project, I think, especially with artificial intelligence, it's not nerve wracking because the feedback I've had so far from my publications, and I've written about maybe 15, 10 different articles, I'm not sure, on AI, and I've started a new series which is just trying to help people in their profession themselves, because I think it's interesting that when a former teacher, me, business is my subject, coming into artificial intelligence, it brings a different perspective, okay? And I may never get to building the micro language model. I'm using a very small one at the moment to create my social media posts, which is interesting. And that's, the data suggests that it's pretty good. But it's operating on the back end of ChatGPT 4. So a little sidestep on my little project. I can take any LinkedIn profile, okay, and get that person, okay, to write something using ChatGPT 4 for artificial intelligence, because I've used a book, I've coded a book in a simple sense, keywords. I've given them decimal points, and on LinkedIn in particular, you can download everybody's profile on PDF. And I've experimented with a couple of profiles. Probably not ethical AI, but nothing naughty. But just experimentation is really important, I think, for learning more about AI and especially neural networks. I mean, more on learning about AI is quite easy if you love reading, and that's what I love doing. I think some of the fundamental flaws, of course, is hallucinations, copyright law, that stuff. But you can't, as one individual, one researcher, which is all I am, I wouldn't be able to solve all those problems. But if I share my knowledge on LinkedIn, which is what I'm doing, this is why I'm doing this live. I don't go live often, but I wanted to today because I'm writing chapter 4 of my publication, and I want to do a video transcript instead because I think it's interesting. So that's the reason why I'm doing live. But hopefully it gives you some knowledge. Those of you who are not familiar with artificial intelligence at all, I know a lot of companies are getting this wrong in terms of trying to embed it into their um, business, it is, you got to have caution around it. You don't want, a lot of companies are trying to automate, which is the wrong approach. It's more about your business strategy first, and whether or not AI, even traditional AI, whether it's going to leverage that or not. So take your time with it. I've written loads of stuff on my profile that you can use, and there's other stuff out there. Just Google it. I think Forbes and Harvard Business Review are probably the two best guides on trying to embed Gen AI into your business. There's loads of authors in there that have done some fantastic work on a simple step-by-step list. I've done a few, not many, but it's interesting. And if I know that AI is going to help my research initially to lower global suicide, I'm going to step into it, and that's what I've done. So neural networks can be, it's a very complicated math system, but that's why we have computers, don't we, to work out the difficult calculations. You can get it wrong, but equally, a machine learning system is somewhat a lot better than a human one in a lot of areas, but it can't be contextual, or it can't be contextual in every situation. So that means that you need to have human emotional intelligence to operate these stuff. Even AI prompting comes from the human mind. And I know a lot of people on LinkedIn have invested time in learning more about AI prompting, experimentation, sharing their posts here on LinkedIn. And there's AI prompting courses. I've built a very small one. It's not really taken off yet, because I've got a different market I'm trying to help, so it's hard. But it's very, there's a lot to think about in AI, and I think I go day in, day out, learning something new and writing about it. That's my forte. I learn, I write. That's me as a teacher, as a thought leader. That's what I do. But I think I wouldn't. I mean, there's a lot of caution around AI, GenAI in particular. And I've written some of that stuff, and you'll see, those of you who read the publication tonight, I think it's released, on quantum computing, which I don't know a lot about again, but I have done some small research. Um, I say I don't know a lot. I probably know more than most, because the article that I wrote a year ago is a security warning to the United States, where quantum computing and China merge is quite dangerous. Well, it's more than dangerous. But anyway, I don't want to babble on too much. I just wanted to do a quick live, an introduction, mainly for my publication. But I thought, if I go live, I just perform better. So my writing should be better in this transcript, and it might be useful to you to think about. I'm only a humble researcher. There's a lot more people there that I know have a lot more knowledge than me. But my job really, my side of the thought leadership, is bringing complex information and creating easy to read content for you to understand. And even when I was watching last night, the chief technology officer from OpenAI, um, I do apologize, can't remember her name, but the lady said that, we don't understand it all ourselves, and we're sharing it, kind of. I think that wasn't the exact words, but, and I think with me, that's what I'm doing, even with micro language models. I don't understand everything. Like, is a 60-70% there, and some of it I give off to ChatGPT 4, and it creates algorithms for me that I tell them, look, can you do me an algorithm on this? I just want it done on a word sheet, Excel, and it's been able to do that successfully. So I've already had some wins very early in my research, and it's very early days for micromanagement models. Effectively, there's other authors saying that we need to go smaller for security reasons. The problem we have with large language models is the copyright and the security risk, because you're feeding it data. Where does that data come from? Is it authentic? Can someone weaponize it, etc.? There's loads of questions to be asked, and each organization will have to come up with their own policy. I know that Europe, the EU, have written their first act on this. UK haven't. Will they? Should they? I don't know. That's for them to decide. My job as a humble researcher is to provide good insights, easy to read, costing next to nothing. Okay, that's what I focus on really, and I enjoy it because I love reading and writing. Anyway, I'm going to say sayonara. Thanks for watching. If those of you, I don't really get a lot of views on this live because it's not planned. I do it more spontaneously because sometimes a live talk helps me focus more on getting out the right information. And it's a different communication method. But anyway, thank you for watching. Those that do watch, comments are very welcome. All the comments I mainly do use in my research, so it'll be helpful if I get a few comments. And I bid you a good day. Thank you, LinkedIn. Have a great one. Adios.